Welcome to Dish It Out. We got a in-house Dish It Out special for you with our own Chef Frank Benowitz.
Oh yeah, we're bringing it in-house. We're actually going to do something we do in the Applied Kitchen Skills class that I teach, but then we're also the Food Prep 2 this semester. We're going to kind of put a little twist on it. Because if anything, we always say that a recipe is nothing more than a framework, and we can adjust those to get the right flavors and textures that we're looking to.
Exactly. Make that recipe your own, which is what you've done here.
Yeah, and we're making it a little new and different. So again, this is a long process. It's kind of a quick style of barbecue, but taking longer than we have the chance to show right this second. So we start off with a full piece of pork butt or pork shoulder, however you want to call it. Same basic thing, part of the animal. And they're probably, the ones we get are usually between 6 and 9 pounds. The more the merrier. You can trim a little bit of that fat if you want. I don't do that for this particular recipe. So what I do is I cut them into pieces, and then what I'll do is I'll liberally, I'm going to do it right in here so we keep our board nice and clean.
Okay.
Just liberally give this is a nice cinnamon chipotle rub. And that's what a rub is. I give it a little rub. You don't have to go too crazy with it, but a lot of this rub you want, because this is our salt, this is our pepper, this is all of our seasoning. And
is there any sweetness in this rub?
Well, it's cinnamon chipotle, so it does have a little bit of sweetness. With the fact that this cooks so short, you can use a brown sugar, even a granulated sugar with this one, as opposed to, I believe the other episode we're doing with Pitmaster Todd Ellis,
yes.
That's a much slower and longer process, and that sugar would burn. This sugar that's contained in here, and this rub will not. So make your own rub. With Maddie, we have our Maddie Daddy rub, which has brown sugar in it. Mm-hmm. So whatever you want. This is a pre-made one that we use. Instead of having to take the time and have all those ingredients, we just use a pre-made cinnamon chipotle rub. And after we do that, you can see this fat on here. If there's silver skin on there, sometimes I'll trim that silver skin because that may be chewy. Exactly. And you'll see what we're going to do later, which actually I learned from a student on how we're going to process this after. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put that on our grill on full blast and give it a little bit of char.
Ooh, nice little sear.
Yeah, well, we got the smokiness of this rub, and then the little char gives a little more smokiness. And I'm going to show you after this, we're going to put it in our pressure cooker. And in about an hour and a half after we sear it, we're going to have pulled pork.
Ooh, no pressure, but it's going to be delicious.
Lots of pressure.
Better be.
I hope so. Talk about letting off some steam. Well, since you left us, we added a lot of things. And in the meantime, you saw we went ahead and rubbed that pork butt. Shoulder. And with that cinnamon chipotle rub or whatever type of rub you want to use, we grilled it to give it a little bit char. We put it in our pressure cooker with 8 ounces of, this is citrus chipotle barbecue.
Okay.
And 8 ounces of chicken stock. Any barbecue sauce you want and chicken stock you want is fine.
Right.
And we pressure cooked it on full blast for an hour, 15
full
minutes.
Blast. Okay.
Full pressure, right? Oh, well, thank you, Shiffy. And inside here, this one we only started off, I used about half of it, so it's about 3 pounds to start. So you can see this is really nice and tender, deliciousness, right? Traditionally, we would always use the forks, and it would take us
Sure,
forever.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I learned this from a student. You know, just put it into your. This is how they did it at their work,
Okay.
and you can see that falling apart, right?
Yeah, it's got our paddle attachment in our mixer.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there, and I want a little of this liquid that it cooked in. That's actually some of that fat that rendered with that barbecue sauce. So I want some of that deliciousness right in here.
Flavors in the fat. We've all heard that, and it's true.
And it's going to keep it nice and juicy too. Look, I'm pouring it all over the place. I'm working to the wrong side. See? Go ahead and use my brand new KitchenAid mixer here with the paddle attachment. And I'm just going to go ahead and get that going. In the meantime, you're going to give me a hand over here. So we have some.
Okay.
So normally in our class restaurant, we would serve this pulled pork, house-made chipotle mayo.
Right?
And we would do some pickled jalapenos and onions.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, they are
I've
good.
had those.
But we're going to do a playoff what we're doing this semester. So we have some apricot preserves here. You can go ahead and just dump that whole bad boy in there.
Carefully measured amount.
Carefully measure them out. So for this particular recipe, we use a half cup of preserves to 1 tablespoon of sriracha to 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So would you like to do the honors with the sriracha, and I'll do the salt?
Sure. That was 1 gallon?
If you want it really spicy, that's up to you. We do the nice balance of the sweet and heat, so we do about a tablespoon worth. That should be more than enough.
Okay.
Got you a whisk here, Chef V.
Ooh, put me to work.
And meanwhile, this pork is smelling outrageous. It's this KitchenAid mixer is doing all the work for me. You can see here that this is it for this spread. And like I said, normally we would serve this maybe a slaw. In our Applied Kitchen Skills class, the favorite is the confit potatoes, which is a slow cooked, beautiful fingerling potato that we cut up, and we hit it and caramelize it and get it nice and
Good
crispy. Or you can get a health salad with it. In this case, I just put a little arugula for some color. And you can add that to your sandwich if you want for a little pepperiness.
Nice.
And we're just going to spread some of this spicy apricot spread that we're using for our burgers right now for this pulled pork.
Ooh.
We're going to put that right on the top. And I think this is already mixed enough.
Oh. That did not take long.
Well, a lot quicker than doing it with the fork and knife, right? I mean, the 2 forks.
That's for certain.
Oh, you're being generous with that. I'm surprised.
Well,
Chef.
it's good stuff.
So we have this here. This is all done. There you go. Can you see that? See up in that? Can you see that?
Now I can see,
See up in that bowl?
Yes.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we have our tongs. Would you like to do a nice generous portion? You can see how moist that pork is. Obviously, if you want it moister, you put a little more of the cooking liquid. If you want it less moist, a little less.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much spot on for me.
Yes.
And a little bit of the chipotle mayo on the bottom we would normally do. I got my clean gloves on.
There we go.
Help you out there. And again, we could have mixed that a little less if we wanted to. We could mix it a little bit more, but that's pretty
This is pretty spot
pureed.
on. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty pureed. And all that fat got blended in there. I'm just going to go ahead and hit it with a little bit more of this barbecue sauce. We actually use 2 different barbecue sauces normally. We use the cinnamon chipotle. How come your sandwich is so much bigger than mine?
Paybacks.
Oh, jeez. Hit it with a little bit more sauce for you.
Ooh.
And that's basically it. We finish it off with some
Finish with a
beautiful.
pickle.
We always teach our students, if we can't make it better than we buy it, we buy it. So this is, they're called Tony Pacos. I'm actually giving the brand. It's a sweet and spicy pickle, which I usually don't like sweet pickles. But with that spice, these are beautiful pickles. And we make pickles here too. But for this sandwich, these are perfect. So we'll put a few of those on top. If we add some slaw, you can put that on top.
Oh, yeah.
And hey, we got ourselves a pulled pork sandwich.
There we go.
Much quicker if you're doing it for football season or something. Then you'll go ahead and have something quick and easy. Pressure cooking is really a very great way to go these days. So without further ado, if you don't mind there, Chef V, I'll give you a little tink. Oh, thank you for making me the bigger sandwich.
Hey,
Tink.
nothing but the best for you. Good stuff, convenient, easy, and tastes great.
Hack to the yeah, man.
Yeah, we'll see you next time on Dish It Out. Enjoy.